Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Tuesday Tanakh and news briefing, okay? And we'll be dealing with for our number one video, number one topic will be the U.S. Saudi petrodollar agreement. We're going to shine a light on that. We talk about it a lot, but we're gonna shine a light on it, okay? So with that being said, I want to say welcome to Prophets of Awakening. Okay, our hours of operation are Tuesday night from 7 to 9. We have our Bible briefing. On Wednesday night, we have our reading through the Tanakh at 7 to 9 p.m. Then we have our Women's Advanced Bible Study on Thursday nights. That's 7 to 9. And then on Friday nights, we have our Men's Advanced Bible Study. It's 7 to 9. Then we have two classes on Saturdays, one in the morning from 10 to 12 p.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat at 6 p.m. every evening. And then we have our Sunday Advanced Bible Study. Every Sunday it starts at 5. Normally lasts about an hour and a half. Okay. This channel was a non-Messianic channel for those that don't know. And by that I mean we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, okay, the Lord of hosts. This channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is, okay? Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Tuesday Tanakh and news briefing, okay? We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. Then we'll open it up for any questions, any comments, any dialogue. And then we'll go into our Tuesday Tanakh and news briefing, right? And then what this briefing is it's combined with the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and the prophecies and all that is in the Old Testament, and we tie them to the end time events, which are current events, which are taking place over in the news. So we're using the news, and we're gonna tie it to Tanakh, okay? And then we're gonna close out. We're gonna pick a scripture and we'll close out. Okay, pick that scripture. We'll break it down, talk about it, then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, oh Lord, we come before Thee at this time that You have set apart. Okay, and we are thankful for the knowledge and the understanding that You have given us up until this point. When we seek Thy face, that You shower us with peace and enlightenment and a sense of togetherness. Oh Lord, we see Thy hand in the affairs of the world, and we know and understand that what You have spoken in the past will surely come to pass. Turn not Thy face from us, but hearken unto this plea, O Lord, hearken and do. All praises unto You. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read a song real quick. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I'll read Psalms 2, right? Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against His anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder, cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall hear them shall have them in derision. Then shall He speak unto them in His wrath, and vex them in His sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, and I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for mine inheritance, for the uttermost parts of the earth for my possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled. But a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Okay, that was Psalms 2. Why do the heathen rage? Okay, you got anything on that, AJ? Can you hear me?
Shalom, yes, sir.
Okay,
Brother Leonard, I just said add this, sir, and later I believe it's in Psalms 34, just at the end of the verse where it says, "Blessed are they that put their trust in Him." It mentions that uh the angel of the Lord, if you put your trust in the angel of the Lord, He'll deliver you.
okay, exactly, right. So with that being said, being that this is our Tuesday, right, and we dealing with our Tuesday Tanakh and news briefing. The format is a little bit different, and so we're going into our we're going to open up now for questions and comments and dialogue. And if anybody have any testimony, we're going to deal with that. So you have any questions you came across, or AJ, or comments, anything, dialogue from in hearing something on this channel or in your research?
Right, yes, sir. So, Brother Leonard, so on the channel on Prophets of Awakening, Brother Leonard, too, I'm saying this for people that listen. Um, there's a playlist on the Prophets of Awakening channel. Um,
Okay,
that's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Non-Messianic Israelite. And it's a playlist by Brother Leonard. It's a series of lessons. It's a 12-part series. That's the foundation to the class. But Brother Leonard, I was watching the recap, the one of the videos on there, and it was recapping the whole series. And specifically though, when it comes to Daniel 9:25, that Messiah,
mm-hmm.
I know that's a big hang up in Christianity and the Yah only doctrine, in the camp doctrines as well. So in Daniel 9:25, Brother Leonard, I just had was on a live that I was observing, and I had um seen recently. So someone was saying in Isaiah 45, you were reading this. This is what my question is about. I should have had it marked. But in Isaiah 45, where it says that Cyrus is the Lord of hosts shepherd, and Cyrus is his anointed one.
Right.
Um, I know a lot of people compare that to Cyrus being the Messiah of Daniel 9:25. So yeah, so I just wanted to ask about that.
No, no, he's not. He's a anointed one, just like Nebuchadnezzar was, and Darius, Artaxerxes. But when you say Messiah, you're talking about somebody has to be. Uh, he's got some special oil that Israel made. It's in Exodus chapter 30, and that special oil has to be used, and that's what happened with David. That special oil was Solomon was commanded by the Lord of hosts to go to Jesse's house in Bethlehem with the horn of oil, the special oil I'm talking about, and it had to be poured on David. And so that's who the Messiah is in Israel. But you got people that the Most High is using anointed, but the Messiah, the King, that's Israel, he has to be. He's not the king if that oil is not being used and not being poured on him. You have to literally have that oil poured on him. And which is anointing oil. And that's what Messiah and Mashiach means. You got two men that's ordained to have that all put on them, and that's the high priest and the king. The high priest is out of Aaron's lineage, always out of Aaron's lineage. If he's not, this is a problem. And then the king is always out of David's lineage. And if the king is not out of David's lineage, it's a problem. Does that make any sense?
Right, yes, sir. Is that's what you call a breach, right, brother Leonard?
Yeah, it's a breach. If those men want, if somebody, any man is on the throne, on David's throne, and he's not out of David's lineage, it's a breach in Israel. It's a problem. Same way with the high priest. If he's not out of Aaron's lineage, it's a perpetual covenant, everlasting covenant between those two men. If they're not out of David's lineage or Aaron's lineage, it's a problem in Israel.
Right,
Okay.
right, yes, sir. And brother Leonard, I have one more question. It was something else that was said in the current events part of that lesson. So
Okay.
this is something that you kind of talk about. Um, so it was mentioned in one of the clips that was played in that video that Zelensky is a Jew, right?
Uh-huh.
And and then we were talking about before how Xing, I think I don't know how to say his name, but Xing, the president of China, right?
Yeah,
That
actually,
get right, yes sir, him. So we're talking about that he probably is one too, because he's not a you know, he don't look like a regular Chinaman.
he a mingle seed.
Right, yes sir. So could you kind of break that down? How Esau kind of did that?
Right.
Um,
If you go back to uh in let me get it's in I think it's in if I'm not mistaken, chapter 32 of Genesis. Let me make sure. So it uh says been a while since I dealt with this. I'm trying to find the verses where Jacob he was told, okay, when he received the blessing from Abraham. I mean from Jacob. I mean yeah, from Isaac. I mean
from Isaac.
what they said. I think it's in the disappointing enmity, and it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made. Yeah, here you go. It said 27. It says
27.
30, verse 30 says it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob. Jacob was yet scarcely gone out of his presence, and Isaac his father, the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting. So this is why how Jacob received the blessing. But his mother told him, so because he received the blessing the way he did, he had to flee. His mom had him to flee from Jacob and go to his her people's land, which is Panorama. But she told him, in which Abraham had told her, for him not to take a wife of the nations, but he had to take a wife. He had to take a wife of his people, which is his mother's people. And Jacob, being who he was, he followed those commandments down to the letter. But Esau was the opposite. Esau, he had no problem with uh, intermingling with the people. So he married an Ishmaelite woman. He married like two, I think. Let me go to 38. I think it's 38. He married
Canaanite.
yeah, it says it came to pass in 38. No, that's not 38. It's 36, I think. I'm tripping. Yeah, it's 36. It says, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. He took wives of the daughters of Canaan. See that he did just what obviously what was told to him by his parents, which is, like I said, is a problem if they do this. And Esau took wives of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elam the Hittite, and Abinah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zebulun the Hivite, and Basma, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabijah, and Ada bore Esau Eliphaz. So he married these Canaanite women, right, outside his lineage. And so because of that, he spoiled the seed. So that's the spirit that's in Esau. He don't care about lineage and all that. He's about money and material stuff, right? So when you get to the point where Esau is after he encountered his brother Jacob when he came from the land of Panorama, Esau, he spread himself all over the whole world. Like, for example, he went to Europe and he sent his daughters into Europe. He followed his lineage. He followed his lineage by the woman, whereas our forefathers is noted in the scriptures that the man carried the seed, but Esau, he's taken it to another level, and he says that the woman he followed his seed through the woman. So he sent women all through Europe, and they married into all these aristocratic families to get money. And the same thing happened in Egypt with the 29th dynasty. Those are Edomites, and Cleopatra is an Edomite. And so that's from that came the people that's in Britain right now, the Queen Elizabeth and all them. They descended from the Ptolemaic dynasty. So Esau spreads his wealth around by sending his daughters and intermingling them in all these different nations, and then they able to rule the world in that fashion. Okay, you got anything on that?
That yes, that makes sense.
Right. The
'Cause when you-
Rothschild did the same thing.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Exactly.
And all these redheads, especially if you know anything about Great Britain, all the Bloody Marys, the redhead women, all the redhead women that ruled in Great Britain, the Edomite women. That's how he got to the point where he at today where he's got pretty much, when you say the powers that be or the ruling class that he saw, and they got it by money and marrying into these rich padded families, and then after they get in there, they kill the man, like what happened with Cleopatra. Killed all of everybody off except she ended up being the lone survivor, and she ended up becoming the ruler of Egypt. And that's how they did all over the world. They marry into these lineages, and then they come back and they poison the whether it's a male or a female, they poison them, and next thing you know, they ruling the nation. And when you track that over the years, it's Esau. You got anything else on that?
Sure, makes sense. Duke see Edom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So with that, I'm gonna play this right here right quick and get it out the way. Let me get this. It's something that I need to know. Okay.
Reportedly ended. So it was a 50-year agreement signed June 8th of 1974 with no reports of it being renewed, meaning as of June 9th, it's expired as far as we understand.
This is first-hand knowledge right here of how Esau operates. He concocted this petrodollar, and from this petrodollar, he's dictating everything happening in the world, because the money is flowing to him unfettered. Okay,
Reports began circulating yesterday, but then those reports were backpedaled when people claimed that they came from an unverified source, which was a Twitter account called Bricks News, which is apparently notorious for posting some things that aren't accurate. And they posted about this petrodollar deal not being renewed on June 12th. So it was a little confusing about what was really going on. Was this renewed? Was it not? But then we found this article from NASDAQ.com that was actually dated June 11th, reporting that the agreement had in fact ended after 50 years. So what is the petrodollar? Why did Saudi Arabia choose not to renew it? And what's going to happen now? Well, the petrodollar is the nickname given to dollars earned from oil exporting nations selling their oil. So this whole system started in 1974 when oil prices shot up and Saudi Arabia made a deal with the US to sell oil exclusively in US dollars. Now, this created a constant need for dollars worldwide because everybody needs oil. And to buy oil at that point, you needed dollars. So this agreement with Saudi Arabia boosted the dollar's value and it solidified its place as the top currency globally. So it is the world's reserve currency, much because of this petrodollar. Now, without the agreement, Saudi Arabia is now free to trade oil in whatever currency it wants. And this makes it easier for other countries, especially the sanctioned ones, to purchase oil in a currency that they have more access to. So either their own currency, like in the case of China and India, potentially Russia, or the currency of a country not sanctioning them. So if you're Venezuela or if you're Syria or Iran, you might grab yourself some Chinese yuan or you might grab yourself some Russian rubles, and you might be able to then buy some oil from Saudi Arabia. I guess Venezuela shouldn't have to, right? Now, why did Saudi Arabia choose not to renew it? Probably for a variety of reasons. An obvious one is the changing global economy, especially with China rising as a major power. Saudi Arabia probably wants to diversify its economic partners and lessen its dependence on the US economy. And by trading oil in currencies like the Chinese yuan, Saudi Arabia could build stronger ties with China, which has 5 times the people, more need for oil. US sanctions is probably another big reason. The US loves to use sanctions to try and hobble economies. The US increasingly talks about sanctioning China, which if it's becoming the largest economy in the world with 5 times the people and 5 times the need for oil, why would Saudi Arabia want to limit how much money it can make by essentially limiting China's access because China can't get a hold of the dollars, right? So back in the 70s when Saudi Arabia made the petrodollar deal, the US wasn't using sanctions as a weapon. But now, as the US has increasingly used the dollar as a form of warfare, you can imagine that Saudi Arabia sits there and wonders why in the world they're only accepting one method of payment that the world is increasingly being cut off from, right? A fault, I suppose, or a positive. I don't know, however you want to look at it. I like to think it's positive that I'm so positive. So I tend to think that, oh, the doomsday scenarios are not going to happen. I thought this with COVID when people were emailing me saying, Kim, mandates are coming. They're talking about vaccines, mandates are coming. And I thought, no way, not in America.
So notice it says the U.S. and Saudi petrodollar deal ends after 50 years. That's a jubilee, okay?
No way, no lockdowns, no mandates, not in America. It's just not going to happen. I can't see my fellow Americans going for it. And I was wrong, so wrong on that. I would think that we're not going to see a new reserve currency rising for probably another 8 to 10 years at minimum, but I could totally be wrong on that. The world is moving fast. Things move way faster nowadays than they did 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, certainly 40 or 50 years ago. Things are moving much quicker now with the digital age. So it could be that countries band together a lot faster and strengthen a different currency quicker. And even just the smallest amount of a dent going into the reserve currency. So let's say the United States dollar is still the reserve currency mostly. So instead.
Okay, you got anything on that? Got to shine a light on that. Okay. So with that being said, talk about this right here.
Day 25 of the war. What is happening in West Asia? Are they still fighting or are they talking peace? The answer is they're doing both. Talks behind the scenes and missiles in the air. That is the situation right now. We've seen a lot of confusion around what's happening. Some people are asking, is this a ceasefire? Does this mean that the war will end soon? So first of all, let's set the record straight. There is no ceasefire in West Asia. Israel and the US continue to attack Iranian sites. The only difference is this: President Donald Trump has delayed his attacks on power plants. That's all. But apart from that, all the military targets are still being hit. So simply put, the war is on, which brings us to the latest battlefield updates. What is happening? Iran launched more missiles overnight. Some of these launches are trolling the US president because the missiles feature edited pictures of Donald Trump. At least one of them slammed into Tel Aviv. Several buildings were damaged in this attack. At least 6 people were injured. Another missile hit northern Israel, and this comes after 2 major hits over the weekend. So clearly, the cost is rising for Israel. We're seeing more Iranian projectiles breaching the Iron Dome. Over in the Gulf, the intensity appears to be falling. Projectiles were fired at Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Bahrain. So far, no damage has been reported. In the Strait of Hormuz, the situation remains unchanged. Iran's military continues to be in charge. We've seen the US try to destroy some of Iran's maritime capabilities, yet Tehran appears to be confident. They say they can control the strait without laying sea mines.
Given our sufficient dominance and capability, there is no need to lay mines in the Persian Gulf, and we will make use of every available means to ensure security whenever necessary.
Which brings us to the other side. Israel continues to bomb Lebanon to the north. They hit parts of Beirut and southern Lebanon. So far, more than 1,000 people have been killed in these attacks. That's 1,000 deaths in Lebanon. Plus, more than 1 million people have been displaced. Israeli soldiers and tanks are moving in. We've told you about this before. Israel sees Lebanon's Litani River as a natural boundary. Their goal is to control the area to the river's south. And what about the people living there? Israel's defense minister says they should leave. These people should leave. He says these people cannot return home until northern Israel is secure.
The IDF is maneuvering into Lebanese territory to seize a forward line of defense, eliminating Hezbollah terrorists and destroying the terror infrastructure built there. Hundreds of thousands of residents of southern Lebanon who evacuated north will not return.
So, according to the news, they want you to think that Israel is doing all this, but from the sources that I'm getting, these Iranian missiles are pulverizing Israel, especially Tel Aviv. Okay, you heard what you heard, AJ?
Right, yes, sir. Same thing. And even in this clip right here, Brother Leonard, it said 1 million people displaced.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
So, you know, so there gotta be destruction happening.
Oh yeah, right. And they trying to hide it. Like I said, we saw where these Edomites, these Jews, trying to confiscate X and TikTok because they say that it's mandatory they get that so they can use them for platforms to fool the public on what's actually really going on, try to turn the tide of what's happening, what people's getting in the news. So that right there in itself is disingenuous. Okay, that's how these people work. So here we go. Let me get this.
So if you try to
The war in West Asia has done something that economists have feared for decades. It has disrupted the flow of energy on a scale never seen before. From Seoul to London, from New Delhi to Beijing, every government is scrambling. None of them have a silver bullet for the problem. The response to the shortage is varied. Some countries are releasing emergency reserves. Some are telling citizens when they can take out their cars. Some are freezing fuel prices before anger spills onto the streets. And at least one country is going in a completely different direction. It believes this crisis is not a problem to manage. Instead, it's an opportunity to transform. Tonight, we break down the tools that various governments are using to survive this shock.
The world is running low on energy, and it is not a gradual decline, it is a shock. A war in West Asia has disrupted the flow of energy like nothing before it. How are governments around the world responding to the challenge? The response has been varied, but it falls into a clear pattern. Some countries are controlling supply, others are capping prices. A few are restricting how energy is used, and one has taken a completely different direction altogether. The first tool is supply control. This means governments stepping in to decide where energy goes and where it does not. In India, the government invoked emergency powers. This tool is rarely used, but it allowed the government to redirect energy supplies across the entire system. Refineries were ordered to maximize production of LPG. To protect that supply, India cut gas allocations to industrial users. Factories came second. Kitchens came first. The government also barred households with piped gas connections from refilling LPG cylinders. India also moved to secure its import pipeline. It expanded its energy supply network from 27 countries to 41. The logic is straightforward. Do not depend on any single region. China took a similar approach, but in the opposite direction. Where India restricted what came in, China restricted what went out. It banned the export of refined fuel, keeping its petrol and diesel within its own borders. Japan took a third route entirely. It released supply it had already held in reserve. Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi confirmed the decision this week. Japan announced its biggest ever release of emergency oil reserves. The government approved the release of 15 days' worth of private sector reserves. 3 countries, 3 versions of the same tool, control what moves and where. The second tool is price control. When fuel prices rise sharply, they hit ordinary people the hardest. So governments across the world have moved to limit how much prices can rise, and in some cases bring them down. Spain launched a €5 billion plan that cuts the value-added tax on petrol, reducing the cost at the pump by 30 euro cents per liter. Portugal and Sweden announced similar measures. Vietnam waived customs duties on fuel imports through April. Taiwan introduced a mechanism that absorbs 60% of any price increase before it reaches the consumer. Germany banned petrol stations from raising prices more than once per day. Brazil suspended taxes on diesel. Morocco introduced a direct subsidy for road transport firms. Greece capped profit margins on fuel and supermarket goods for 3 months. It also set aside 300 million euros in direct relief for households and farmers. The third tool is rationing. This is the most direct intervention of all. Governments telling citizens how much energy they can use and when. South Korea moved on multiple fronts simultaneously. Cars will be allowed on the road based on their license plate numbers.
Yeah, so this is what coming here. It's just a matter of time, but it's coming here, and everybody's gonna have to tighten up the road. You know, nobody's not gonna be gonna get spared. It's coming. Check this out right here.
If you live in Texas, I got a question for you.
Why is everyone wanting to move to your state? Pay attention to what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the states that are shrinking and the states that are growing. And Texas, over the past couple of years, is one of the states that a lot of people are moving to. And this is important because I want to make a point about this. A lot of times, we've complained about Governor Abbott, his laws, his leadership in Texas, but it doesn't seem to be enough to stop people from moving to Texas. Check this out. America's fastest growing and fastest shrinking states. Now, I'm sad to say, but I guess everybody figured it out. I'm one of the ones that's shrinking. Look at this population change from 2020 to 2025. So this includes the pandemic era. Texas population increased by 2.6 million people. 2.6 million people. Texas. You look at this map here, make this bigger for everybody. It's easy to see that for whatever reason, a lot of people are coming to the Lone Star State. Of course, Florida wasn't too far behind. North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, South Carolina, Tennessee. We'll go down here and I'll show you a little bit of difference.
Yeah, they coming back to the South. Okay.
The U.S. population grew by 10.3 million people from April 2020 to July 2025. The South is accounting for the majority of gains. From 2020 to 2025, Texas and Florida added the most residents, while New York and California recorded the largest declines. So let me go ahead and say something here. Texas, the cost of living is cheaper in Texas than it is obviously in New York City. I have to say New York City because New York is actually a big state and upstate New York is not as expensive as New York City. But New York City, same thing with Massachusetts, California, the cost of living is a lot cheaper in Texas. People that have been living in apartments for like years have an opportunity to move to a state where they could actually probably get a house for what they're paying for their apartment. Get a chance to have their family, to have a yard if they have a family, but their money will go further. But another thing I want to mention about Texas that I think sometimes people sleep on, when you look at the top 10 cities in the United States that has job growth, some of those cities are in Texas, right? Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston is huge for jobs. Afford a 2-bedroom rental. It is now ranked 9th for the highest housing wage. I've been warning people about Texas as well. Texas is also creeping up. It's not in the top 10, but it can easily get there if this trend continues to happen. Texas is ranked 22nd now. I believe the first time I covered this, I believe it was 25th, but it keeps going up. In Texas, you need to earn at least $29.64 an hour to afford a 2-bedroom rental in the future. Everyone needs to pay attention to what is going on, right? Maryland is another one of these states, which is where my family is from. Let me just highlight it here. It's so tiny on here, so it's hard to get it, but I'm going to get it right about there. Maryland is also in the top 10. Maryland is south, it's south of the Mason-Dixie line, but it has some northern quality to it at some point. One of the things about Maryland that I think some people just may not understand, they think that Maryland is just Baltimore, but you got to remember a lot of people who are living in Southern Maryland work in DC. So Washington, DC drives up the housing cost in Maryland. Some of the Midwestern ones, now we're seeing the reverse. People are moving south. And a lot of this really has to do with cost of living. But as it happens, the voting populace is going to change. And that's something I think a lot of people need to pay attention to. My advice, cost of living is cheaper. Yes, indeed. But at the same time, I will say that it's hot as hell. And I'm just not a hot person. So if it's you, like if you like heat and you like high humidity, I say go for it, bud. Go for it. I don't like high humidity. I don't like it too hot, like really hot, you know, that's a me thing. But if you like that, I say go for it, you know?
Okay. You got anything on that, AJ?
Shalom, brother Leonard. You have been saying that about us moving back to the south.
Yeah.
Not, you
It was
know,
gonna happen. Right, it was gonna
right.
happen.
It's happening. I see it.
Looking right at it. Exactly.
And brother Leonard, to that point, I'm sorry. I had seen you always be talking about it's in Ethiopia, Ababa.
Yeah, Abba.
Yes, sir. So I seen that you know, a lot of flights had got shut down
Right.
February with everything that was going on. So I seen that direct flight open back up, or is opening back up here soon to that place, Addis Ababa,
Right.
from Atlanta. So from the
Exactly.
south to Africa.
Right. And then they got I didn't play it. I'll probably play some of it tomorrow. But they got a big reparation blitz going on right now, coming from Africa, coming from the African nations. So, like I said, it's all being set up. Like the hub, the repatriation place where we going is Addis Ababa, and then from there they're gonna disperse people out everywhere, all over the place. But what they got set up is they're gonna come in and Addis Ababa. That's what what they call that in processing center. Okay, just remember I said that. Okay. Anyway, so here go warning.
Now we are seeing hundreds or thousands of stores. These are both retailers and fast food chains are shutting down. Restaurants cannot bring in enough customers to keep the lights on, and retailers,
The walls closing in. If you're paying attention, the walls coming in. Like I said, in Egypt, nobody ain't stay there. Not no Israelites. He ran them out. And the same thing's gonna happen right here. The walls closing in on the Israelites.
can't charge enough to sell their products. What's happening right now is something that we've seen in the past in certain industries, but now it's hitting everybody at once, all because gas prices are continuing to rise. Now, I'm going to break this down, explain what stores are closing down, some of which may be some of your favorites, and well, they're going to be gone forever. I want to show you something. Look at this. It says Pizza Hut is closing 250 U.S. stores as the parent company considers selling the brand. Okay. Pizza Hut has been around for a very long time. Why is Pizza Hut struggling? Do people not have pizza? Do we not eat pizza throughout the week? Well, here's the real reason. Pizza Hut is seen as a luxury. Pizza Hut is now an expensive pizza. It's not Domino's, which you can get Domino's for like $6.99 for a medium pizza. It's not something like Little Caesars where you can get a hot and ready pizza for under $6 to $7. It's not that. That is the affordable pizza. But spending $15 to $25 on one pizza is not considered affordable. Pizza Hut is changing. We're already seeing Pizza Hut is changing their menu as well, but they're not the only ones. Look at this one. It says Wendy's will continue closing hundreds of stores through mid-2026. Now, we learned about this over a month ago that Wendy's is considering shutting down like 150 locations. But what Wendy's is doing is something different. There's multiple Wendy's in certain cities where, let's say, for instance, Seattle, Washington, or Bellevue, for instance. I can go drive to one Wendy's, in downtown Bellevue, just right behind Bellevue Square, and I can go to another one just, several miles away. So do we need those two right here in Bellevue? Well, the answer may be no. Now, I'm pretty sure both of these are staying open because they're very popular, but keep this in mind. In certain cities, they don't need 2 Wendy's. They may not need 2 McDonald's. They may not need 2 Taco Bells. Okay? So what these companies are trying to do is consolidate. That's what they're trying to do. Consolidate their company and maybe sell the other store. But again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Look at this one right here. It says it's bye-bye to Arby's restaurants after iconic American diner quietly confirmed shutdowns and doors are already closed. We learned about this in January. Guess what has happened? We're seeing stores shut down. Okay? I've talked to many people and asked, what are you seeing in your area? What are you seeing in your city? And some of them are saying the exact same things. Well, we used to have an Arby's restaurant. It shut down. We used to have Wendy's right next to my house. It closed down. Or, well, I used to go to 7-Eleven every Friday to get a Slurpee, but it shut down. So now I don't go there anymore. This is the problem. Okay, we are seeing everything change at once. Look at this. It says more than 1,400 stores are set to close across the U.S. in 2026. Eddie Bauer is another store that I used to like going to. They were expensive. I used to like going there because especially for winter clothes, Eddie Bauer items were extremely warm. They were durable, they were warm, they looked nice, and so I'd go to Eddie Bauer. They're shutting down. They are closing their store for good in the U.S. and Canada. Okay, they are done. I want to show you something else. Look at this one right here. It says end of the line for 75 Dollar Tree stores as 2026 shutdowns confirmed. This is something we've been hearing about for some time, that people are getting frustrated with the dollar store, with Dollar Tree, because they're going in expecting to pay $1 or maybe a little bit more. But I've had people write to me saying that it's insane that they are being asked to pay $10, $11, $12 for an item at the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree, everything was supposed to be $1. But guess what? As prices rose, as we saw additional inflation, the Dollar Tree, their business model, that broke. Their business model doesn't work because then as we see additional inflation, that means they have to have less quality items. But
Okay.
so bottom line, I want to show you something because what we're seeing is bad news. I want to show you why. It says it's a bad time to hunt for new jobs. Most U.S. workers say in a new Gallup poll. When we see these stores shut down, when we see Arby's close, when we see Macy's shut down, we see Dollar Tree lay off some of their staff, when we see Pizza Hut shut down, when we see this, all those workers, those thousands and thousands of workers, have to go find a new job. And now they're going to be put out there with everyone else that has yet to find a job over the past several months or several years. That is concerning, where businesses are not trying to rehire people as fast as they're letting them go. They're not trying to get rid of the bad employees and bring in new ones. They're just trying to remove some of their expenses. That's the issue. That's what you're going to face over the next likely several years. According to experts, they feel that the job market isn't actually going to turn, and we're going to see a major shift likely until sometime in 2027.
Okay. You got anything on that?
Yes, sir. I think I'm seeing a lot of this just driving around and looking.
Exactly.
A lot of restaurants closing, dollar stores, restaurants, banks, all of that kind of stuff.
And the crazy part about it is you're looking at it from different lens than everybody else. You got to know that. They They ignorant to the fact you sitting there dealing with these precepts and these prophecies at the Most High because of where you at. But they have no clue. They don't have no idea what's happening, what's coming. Okay, check this guy out.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Here with you. And the reason why I want to share it right now is because, because the culmination of warnings that I
so remember how the gold and the silver, how it was skyrocketing, right? Like I said, we dealing with Project 2025. It's all about the Hebrew, the African American over here, and how they had rolled so fast. And so everything they doing is to take that away. And then and that when they do that, which is what they doing, we ain't no reason to be here. But over 2/3 of these Negroes ain't gonna get the memo because they on some more shit. But check it out.
I put out a handful of years ago are all coming out now at once. I did a video, and it would be my honor if you would check it out. It's a very short video on my new channel, the Economic News Ninja. It's entitled "A Serious Warning About Fertilizer and Food Hyperinflation." And it's going to go into that and bring you to a video that I produced, a real video using an AI script about what's going on with fertilizer in our nation and the prices of food rising rapidly. We are seeing in America things that are shocking a lot of investors. The fact that gold can fall about $1,000 an ounce.
It just happened.
It just recorded its biggest weekly drop in 43 years. I warned people.
What you got to understand about that is it's skyrocketing everywhere else. But here in America, let that ferment. This how much Israel hated. Okay.
In December, January, and early February to start looking to layer out of gold and silver because the volatility was going to get intense. Because the only reason it went up was because China was running the futures price up and they're actively trying to destroy the dollar. Behind the scenes of this war, see, our president is attacking every oil producing country that has done deals with China, Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa. As he's attacking these and taking over their oil supply, this is a direct attack to those countries' economies. What those countries are doing behind closed doors is destroying our economy. These are weapons of financial mass destruction that they're putting on us. If you will prepare right now and buy some specific food that you already eat that's like long-term storage and just go, look, I'm going to buy the next 6 months of my food right now. You're going to lock in today's prices.
So let me intervene right quick to make this plain. Okay, the scriptures tell you, and I'm always talking about this, it's a whore in Jerusalem. Everybody seems to forget that. Not the real woman, but it's a whore over there. And the Bible tells you that at the end, everybody gonna have a problem with that whore. This is what Iran doing. They understand this. They don't want no ceasefire no more. They in behind this whore. That's what everybody is. A parasite. Go back to Cain. When the mark is on Cain. He took the melanin from him and he said, you're gonna go everywhere all over the earth, robbing and pillaging. And the earth is a problem. The earth got a problem with you, but you're gonna go robbing and pillaging with it and taking everything with a weaponry. That's who the Gentile is. Genesis chapter 4. Cain descendants. Cain is a serpent. You come from Japhet. That's who Japhet is. They didn't curve the understanding of who he is. They got you thinking he's Noah's son. And so these people is at the point, after 2,500 years, they at the point now, they got a problem with this parasite. It came to a head. And they don't want to deal with him no more. They don't want to play the games no more. Okay?
And I believe that this summer, most Americans are going to be losing their minds as the price of diesel and unleaded skyrocket. At the same time, food. Imagine, I reported the other day on the other channel that the price of fresh and frozen produce rose 48% last month. This shock is going to smack people in the face and they're going to lose their minds. Think of how many businesses will go out of business this summer alone, not only because AI is taking jobs like crazy, but because they can't afford to fulfill the contracts based off of older fuel prices or higher food costs. Right now, there are coin shops around the nation that are contemplating closing their doors and shutting down their business because they're taking massive, massive losses. My point to all of this is that we're in a moment where that whole get prepared so you're not scared, there's this last little push, and it shouldn't be done out of fear. It should be done.
So like I said, this what our forefathers did in Egypt, and the other nations did. They bumping their guns, but the Lord of hosts, the God of the whole earth, he knows just how to do you. You can fumble with it and talk all that bullshit you want, but when he go to work, he gonna go to work. You can nickname it or whatever you want to do with it, but he knows just how to do you. He didn't allow these people to do what they're gonna do for the minute, but now he back. And the crazy part about it is the average person don't even know who he is. They fund him with JC. But he knows just how to do you.
Because you know it's coming. There is a lack of urea right now coming to America to fulfill our fertilizer needs. What do you think's about to happen to DEF? I would just go ahead and pick up a little extra DEF for your diesel trucks. Just a little. Don't go crazy. Just go, hey, what's my next 6 months? Because this will pass. However, when it happens, even though it's short-lived, most humans panic. They close businesses, they go bankrupt, they lose their minds, and then the aftermath is when you go and pick up the pieces because you're ready. Let me ask you this. Type 1 if you've been seeing these signs and you've been getting prepared.
So let's look at that right quick. I'm gonna let this ride after this. So this Esau handprint all over this. He did this exact same thing with Napoleon. Napoleon came and they funded him, gave him all the money he needed. He wreaked havoc all over the world. And then when he got beside himself, just like Hitler did, he thought he was above the powers that had raised him up. They had to come in with the army and shut him down. So when they shut him down, everybody sitting around looking crazy, and then they wanted to take all their stock and all their money out of the stock market. And so these Rothschilds told him Napoleon had won the war. So everybody ran and got rid of and got closed all their businesses and got all their money out, sold all their stocks in the stock market. He came in and bought all of it up for pennies on a dollar. And then come to find out Napoleon had lost. Same thing right here. Just got Esau handprint all over it. Okay.
And of course, I'm asking a question I think I already know. Every single one of you have been seeing this. We've been talking about this forever, and now this is it. This is the moment you and I have been waiting for. To think right now that nationally home prices have fallen over 8% since the peak of 2022. And they're falling at a faster clip than what they did during the Great Recession, the run up to the Great Recession. They're already surpassing half of what the entire Great Recession housing market did. And remember, it's not about where you live. If your place is good, It's about the nation's greatest wealth theory, their mindset being taken away from them. So they're gonna spend less money on food or going out to eat. They're gonna spend less money on their next house or their next car or going to Home Depot. And you're gonna see all of these earnings. It's gonna be like this earnings apocalypse in Wall Street. In Wall Street, the stock market's about to roll over. We are already at 4 weeks of down weeks on the S&P, and the S&P is the darling of most YouTubers that are younger than me because they haven't been through the Great Recession. They didn't learn their lessons. They weren't investors before then. They watched their parents. A lot of these YouTubers that push these S&P funds have been telling watch their parents lose their homes, and it freaked them out. But they weren't investors prior, so they didn't see and experience the warning signs. And I'll bet you, if I ask you, and I want to ask you, type yes or no.
So he a pro at this.
If you saw the warning signs during the run-up of the Great Recession, even though you either took advantage of it and did something, or you didn't, you saw the warning signs. And looking back, you go, yep, all the signs are there. And now all the signs are here. But this time, it is different. It's worse. The reason why it's worse is because more money has been printed up to this time.
Exactly.
Just like the Roaring 20s, because of the Spanish flu of 1918 and the subsequent Depression of 1920. Do you know that most people do not even know about the Depression of 1920?
Okay.
Because it's not taught in schools. Because if it was taught in schools, they would have to talk about the Spanish flu. And if they talked about both of those events, it would expose what they just did a handful of years ago.
Exactly.
If they talked about Spanish flu and the Depression of 1920, they'd also have to talk about what the Federal Reserve and the government did to print a ton of money and push the economy into stratospheric heights during the Roaring 20s, and that's what caused the Great Depression.
Exactly.
This is very important that people understand this.
They don't.
The reason why it's important is because this time is different. Every single YouTuber out there that's got an affiliate link selling you gold is telling you, don't worry, buy the dip. It's going to rip up higher eventually, but it's going to go lower before it does. Because every single thing that you own, the value of it, even if it's a baseball card, the value is based off of one thing, the stock market. You may think it's perception. Sure it is, but it's the perception of the buyer and how they perceive their wealth. Do they have the extra money to go buy that baseball card, buy that stock, buy that gold coin, buy that house, buy that new car, buy the used car? Every single thing hinges on the stock market. And there is no one on this earth.
And they playing the stock market. They got stock market on the yo-yo strain, just like they got these Negroes with JC. They got JC on yo-yo strain. And like I said, in 2026, and you don't know this, it's shameful.
That teaches this. It's the most obvious, evident thing ever. Hey, if there's anybody working for Fox or any of these news channels, I'd love to come on and be interviewed. But they probably won't want to, because it doesn't fit in a narrative with their advertisers. I thank you from the bottom of my heart every time you share my videos. I'm trying to get the message out. And sometimes it's like beating your head up against the wall. But I'm not going to give up.
It's all good.
And I don't want you to give up. You're about to experience the greatest wealth transfer because you've actually earned it, because you've done something to prepare for it. You know how many people love just quoting that Bible verse? The wealth of the wicked are stored up for the righteous. Yeah, they've already misquoted the Bible because there's a comma right after that. It says, but a good man stores money for his children's children.
Exactly.
That means a good man looks to the future, looks deep, looks hard.
Dealing with the Creator.
Just like the parable of the virgins, they were all equally pure and they were waiting to go to their feast. But some had their oil lamps full.
So what you got on that, AJ? Got anything, feedback?
Shalom, brother Leonard, I agree with what he was saying about the wealth transfer.
Okay.
I know he don't see it from how we see it, but I
Isaiah 60.
agree with that.
Isaiah 60.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So with that being said, okay, we're at the point now where we're gonna pick a scripture, then we'll read that scripture, and then we'll break it down, and then if you got anything else, we'll talk about it, then we'll close out. Okay. You got a scripture you wanna shine a light on?
Oh yes, sir. Shalom, brother Leonard. I wanted to shed a light on Isaiah 40 and 25 through 28,
What it say?
and it says, to whom then will you liken me, or shall I be equal? Saith the Holy One. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who have created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth out them by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over from my God? Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. And shalom, that was Isaiah chapter 40, verses 25 to 28.
Okay. You got anything on that?
Uh, but then I really just in verses 26.
Okay.
I know we big on who the Lord of hosts is, which is our God and our Savior. And in
Mm-hmm.
verse 26 says, lift up your eyes on high, and behold who createth these things, that bringeth out the host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For he is strong in power, and not one faileth. So brother Leonard, I know the Lord of Hosts from the class. I know that the Lord of Hosts is always referring to his might, right?
Exactly right.
Yes, sir. So this him, not Yahweh. It say that twice in verse 26. For he calleth them by all their names, by the greatness of his might, for that he
Right.
is strong in power.
Exactly. Yeah. Matter of fact, it was James. I think Sunday. He put up Isaiah 45 and 46 and 5. Can you read that? Because I went came back the next day and broke it down. Because I was off on some more stuff when he put it up there, but I remembered it and I went back and looked at it. Because I didn't over the years I done dealt with so much stuff, man. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Yes, sir. And so it's Isaiah 46 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and it says, to whom, to whom will you liken me, and make me equal, and compare me, that we may be like? They lavish gold out of the bag, and weigh silver in the balance, and hire a goldsmith, and he maketh it a god. They fall down, yea, they worship. They bear him up on the shoulder, they carry him, and they set him in his place, and he standeth. From his place shall he not remove. Yea, one shall cry unto him, yet can he not answer, nor save him out of his trouble. Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. And then the last, remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. You want me to keep
Okay.
going?
No, that's it.
Okay.
So when you understand that, you got to go back to because he mentioned them making idols, creating these gods. these idols. So you have to go back to verse 1 and then come down to that, and you'll understand. When you understand who Michael is, he's telling them which one of these idols that you creating, talking to the Israelites, which one of them can you compare to me? Because when the Creator created him, it's no other angel like him. But go ahead and read that.
Right. And it says, Bel boweth down, Nebo stoopeth, their
These
idol.
idols, these
Right.
gods. Okay, go ahead.
Nebo stoopeth. Their idols were upon the beasts and upon the cattle. Your carriages were heavy loaded. They are a burden to the weary beasts. They stoop, they bow down together. They cannot deliver the burden, but themselves are gone into captivity. Hearken unto me, O house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, which are born by me from the belly, which are carried from the womb. Even to your old age I am he, and even to hoar hairs will I carry you. I have made and I will bear, even will I carry and deliver you. To whom will you liken me and make me equal and compare me that we may be like?
Keep going.
Oh, yes, sir, that we may be like. They lavish gold out of the bag and weigh silver in the balance and hire a goldsmith, and he maketh it a god. They fall down, yea, they worship. They bear him upon the shoulder, they carry him, and they set him in his place, and he standeth. From his place shall he not remove. Yea, one shall cry unto him, yet he cannot answer, nor save him out of his trouble. Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O you transgressors, and remember the former things of old. For I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none else like me.
Exactly. Ain't nobody else like me. When he created me, ain't nobody else like me. It's Isaiah 43. So the same thing, you think they stopped making idols? No, they made JC. And the same thing the Lord of hosts telling you right there, you got to compare that to JC. And like I said, the Creator made him. Isaiah 43 and start at verse 10.
Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and
The Israelites.
my servant, whom I have chosen, and ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and besides me there is no Savior. I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore, you are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God.
Right.
Yea.
Right. So right there, when you understand, when you just to, I mean, his deliverance. When he's talking, once you peep out who he is, you can always tell who he is from the way he did, the way his deliverance is. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, if you go back to verse 10 again one time for me, and then I got to break down something.
Right, yes, sir. And it says, you are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant, whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me.
Right. So I got into a conversation today, and he's talking to the Levites. He took the Levites and Aaron's seed from among the people. And we know that he tells us that these are men wonder there, these Levites, just like him. They men wonder there. So these conversations that you hearing, I ain't talking to all these Negroes. I'm talking to the niggas that's wonder there. I ain't talking to these Negroes. I'm talking to the ones he talking to. Because this conversation is over their pay grade. Okay? I got into a conversation on a happenstance today. And it gave me let me know that where I'm at. Yeah, it's not for them to receive it. Everybody ain't know. Everybody not part of this lineage, a part of this priesthood or the Levites. The Levite is not a regular man. Just like Michael, he's not a regular angel. Like he said, there's no other angel like me. And he tells us the same thing with these Levites. They ain't all of them ain't gone. It's still a remnant here. That's who he's waking up. And so all you have to do when you understand that and you talking to these Negroes and they ain't getting it, then why you fumble with them? You ain't got to fumble with them. The evidence is right there in the face when you start breaking it down. Like I say, if you sitting over there fumbling with the ideologies of who JC is, then come on, man. You falling backwards in the dark. And what I'm gonna do is let you fall backwards. Okay? It's 2026. Oh yeah. You got a matter of fact, you got like you just mentioned, you got non-Messianic conversation. I think it's 13 videos on there. Them golden nuggets. Okay, if you trying to find if you trying to get right, then go listen to that. And if you can't comprehend that, like I said, if you don't do what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you some roller skates. Come on, ain't there something?
Right, yes, sir.
Yeah, he said in the last days, the people he dealing with in Isaiah 52, the last 3 verses in Isaiah 52, those men gonna be like wedges of gold. You can't go around the corner or cross the border and go somewhere else and find a wedge of gold. It's rare. Come on. Ain't that something?
Right, yes, sir.
That's where we at. And and the thing what you have to understand about that, that's part of his own. That's who he did from heaven. That's what he dealing with. That's part of what he doing. When he go to work, they included. It ain't just him. They included. It's like the Lord of hosts when he made those 7 angels. You can't just fumble with the Yahweh. He got 7 angels he done created. And the same thing with this priesthood and these Levites. You ain't just dealing with the Lord of hosts. Even if you don't even understand that. They're an extension of him. He part of it. I went to Isaiah. Let me read that. I went to Numbers 18 today to no avail. Like I said, I don't even know why I did it, but I went to Numbers. Let's look at it. See, I know how close we is. That's why it don't matter to me. I know exactly how close we is. Okay, so let's look at it. 18, this chapter 18 of Numbers. And the Lord said unto Aaron, thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. Okay, so outside of these different type of men, like I said about Joab, Abishai, all them different type of men. He says, and the Lord said unto Aaron, thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of the priesthood. Okay, and thy brethren also of the tribe of Levi and the tribe of thy father bring thou with thee. that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. But thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle. This is what I'm telling you about. Before the tabernacle of witness. That's a certain place. That's inside the temple. Priests and Levites in there. But we've been scattered. So you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you're dealing with a Levi or a priest. You don't know what you're dealing with, but the signs is there. When you start dispersing the information and they ain't getting it, they on some more shit. You already know what's up. And that's what we at. Like I say, I was telling the brothers today that you think it's a coincidence that missiles flying everywhere all over the world, and we're at the end. There ain't no more time for misdiagnosing the scriptures and fumbling with bullshit. It's hammer time. Okay? That's where we at. Okay? And you got any feedback on that?
No, sir. That's where we at.
Yeah. That's where we at, man. Ain't no more time for nothing else. It's in the same way when they were in Egypt. When the Lord of hosts showed up in Egypt, all the other, whatever else he was doing, that's the most shit. We see, we hear, especially over here on Prophet Awakening, you've been prepped. You can see. You can see where we at. You think everybody else see this. They don't see this. These Negroes on some more shit. Okay? And so that's where we at. And that's the reason why, like I said, I'm here 6 days out of the week. Hardest Hebrew working on the internet. Hardest working Hebrew. Okay? Understand what his word is. Okay? Word is spirit. And the more you put his word out there, the more it's going to manifest itself. And that's what we at. I understand that. Okay? So, with that being said, I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see everybody. We have our reading through the Tanakh night tomorrow night, and we're going to be right back here again, 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Okay? So with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow at 7 for our reading through the Tanakh. Shalom.
Shalom.